Alright, this lesson 6.3a is going to start introducing us to something called elimination. Elimination is just what it sounds like. Our job is to eliminate one variable using algebraic manipulation. The process looks tough at first, but it's extremely repetitive and predictable once you get it. There's just a few spots of errors that people will make, and once you practice and get those errors out of your system, everything will be fine. Just to verify what we're going to do, there's two processes that we use in elimination. One of those is multiplication, and one of those is switching the sign. And so we know that 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. But what if we took this equation and multiplied everything by something like 4? So what if we took 2 plus 3 equals 5 and simply multiplied everything by 4? So this would be 4 going to 2, which makes 8. 4 going to 3, which makes 12. 4 going to 5, which makes 20. That would be our shift. What if we switch all the signs? Again, what if we took 2 plus 3 equals 5 and we simply switched everything by multiplying it by -1? That would make -2. That would become a -3, and that would become a -5. But I want you to notice that 8 plus 12 is equal to 20. And just to verify, -2 minus 3 is equal to -5. So what you should notice is that even though we change the values, the equations are still true. And so what that means is even though we changed the way the equation looks, we did not change the relationship between the numbers. In other words, we are giving the equation a facelift. There are certain times when you want an equation to look a certain way, and so you need to adjust things to work the way you want them to. And so we are going to manipulate the numbers in elimination, which is why it's very important that you get your work today understood, because this is me simplifying as far as I can to make it so you can actually be able to do it. There are 4 types of problems you're going to see on your homework, and they're pretty direct, and they actually walk you through the whole thing. For example, A just says add the terms to eliminate y. So what you notice is that we want to eliminate, and we have two, they're not equations yet, but two expressions. 4x plus 3y is one expression, 2x minus 3y is the other expression. But notice, in order to eliminate, we need an opposite, so we have our 3y's here, which is what makes it an easy question. And so what you would do on your paper, or however you would do it, is you would say this plus that is gone, but 4x and 2x makes 6x, and so that's what you would type in. Again, because 3y and -3y are already set for elimination, they already go away, you would pretty much cancel those out and add the other terms, which makes 6x. That would be your answer. That's the easy one. That's the easiest one that you're going to see. The second one is going to walk you through a little bit of stuff. So as you do it, you notice that x's are not ready to eliminate because they're not opposites, and your y's are not ready to eliminate because they're not opposites. The nice thing about your y's, though, is that they are close to being eliminated because they're both -2's, which means that if we could switch that to be a +2, it would go away, and that's where we use our manipulation. And our manipulation is we are going to switch this by switching everything. So you're going to leave the 7x minus 2y the same. Hopefully you're writing this down, because this is going to help you. But we are going to switch everything down here. So we are going to turn this to -10x and plus 2y. And what that does for us now, and again, these are all going to be things you type into your computer, but what this does for us now is it gives us a -2 and a +2, which means these two things cancel. All we have to do now is 7 minus 10, or as some of you would do, 7 plus -10, however you type that in. Either way, that answer would be -3x is what's left over. Again, our y's were close, so we switched the whole bottom row. We left the top row the same. Make sure you type it in exactly the same. We switched our 10 and switched our 2 because we found out that as long as we switch everything, it's still relationship-wise the same. Our y's in cancel. I wouldn't cross it out though, but you can, because you're going to have to type that in if you're doing it on the computer. But again, our y's cancel, and all we're left over with is 3x. Those are the two easy questions. The last two are the ones that's going to make you work, and they're not even the level that we're going to be at tomorrow, but will be fine. Again, the process isn't bad as long as you jump in here and do it like you need to. We typically will not eliminate y. The only reason why we typically eliminate y, let me bring that paper back, is if our y's are ready to eliminate or our y's are almost ready to eliminate. But typically the value that I'm going to have you eliminate in terms of your work is x. And the reason I do that is because it's in the front and you don't have to look past anything to see your number. So our question here is, if I have a 3x, because notice our x's aren't ready to go, our y's aren't ready to go, but the thing is we have a 3x and an x. And we want to make our x's go away, and so what we want to do is make our x's match. Well, what number would we have to turn this into to make it match would be a 3x. And so what you're going to type on your computer is, this is already a 3x, so leave it alone. But what we're going to do here, just like we did with the original part, is we are going to multiply this by 3. So again, this is fine because we already have a 3. But we need this to have a 3, and in order to do that we are going to multiply it by 3. So 3 times x minus 2y is what goes here. Next, as it will tell you, distribute. So there's nothing to distribute here, just write 3x plus 5y. But this has to turn to 3x minus 6y. Again, top equation stayed the same, so you're going to see a box for that, leave it alone, but this has to shift, and so you're going to multiply 3 times everything there. But now notice that your x's are almost ready to go, but 3x plus 3x doesn't cancel. If that was negative, we'd be good, and so what we do now is we switch to bottom row. So you will have to retype 3x plus 5y, but you will now switch everything here to be negative 3x plus 6y. Now that our x's are ready to go, notice that that's going to go away, and so what we are left over with is 5 plus 6, which makes 11y. So that is how you eliminate. Again, this is a process that we're going to work on for a little bit, so don't feel like I'm trying to rush you, but you do need to make sure you at least can walk through this part of it, because we still don't have the equal sign there, we still don't have the solving part in there. But again, as long as you can do this, then you'll be fine, especially tomorrow whenever we add in the second part of it. And then the last one that you'll see on your homework, I think it's 9 questions, but it's like 2 of these and then whatever to make the other stuff go. But again, it's not that bad. Again, we want to eliminate x, and so you're going to look at your x and say, if I want these two to match, I need a 4 in front of this, and the only way I can put a 4 in front of this is to multiply the top equation by 4. So if I want to make the x's match, that means I must multiply the top equation by 4. I can leave the bottom equation alone because it's already got a 4. I will now distribute, which means that I take the 4 times everything. This is what we kind of did in our substitution. So 4x minus 20y, and then leave the bottom 4x minus 2y. Now that I've distributed, notice that our x's are almost ready to go, so again we're going to switch the bottom row. So leave the top alone, but switch the whole bottom, which means make that negative. Don't forget to make that positive. And the last thing we do is add the terms. Notice that my 4x's go away because 4x plus negative 4x is 0. So we do negative 20 plus 2, which is negative 18. Just don't forget your y. Again, very simple 4-step process, but you have to get that stuff down, and so that's why I'm not having you solve. That's why I'm not having you do anything major. Just make sure you understand, again, this process is extremely repetitive. My best advice is that you open a separate tab with this video on it so that you can kind of rewind, because remember, now that you've watched the video, you can always kind of go back and watch what I do, and everything is going to be the same except for the numbers. Just remember, you can always email me or text me any questions. In this assignment, I only need a picture of the computer screen because it shows all the work, so I don't need 2 pictures on this, because even though you can do it on paper, you really don't have to do it on paper. Once you get it, just show me what you've typed into the box. Whatever, just don't show me something that has a bunch of empty boxes on it saying, how do I do it? I need to see what you did so I can correct your decisions. But other than that, I will talk to you tomorrow, and good luck.